Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Peace, love, and positivity to you. My name is Sohum, and today I'll be giving a first-time reaction to indie artist Ora Cogan. I've never heard of Ora before, so I don't know exactly what style of music we're going to get because indie tends to be a very large umbrella, but as always, you guys know me, I love to discover new music, so I'm super excited to check this out today. But before we do, a massive thank you goes to Jeff for making this request and for showcasing the lovely Ora. I think it's awesome that y'all are together. I hope things are well. Let's jump into it, guys. Let's check it out. Some country bar. I was just in Nashville, so I'm like having flashbacks.
Like honey, drips through your teeth. Everything in ruins, but the light is so sweet.
You got a trumpet and a mandolin in the back.
Silk stock and
like a little angel walks through. Everybody is dimly lit, cowboy, rugged, bright white snow bunny enters.
Fixing your smile, you dive out in the night, and your You're just a hard-hearted woman, gunmetal smile.
I really like her voice.
Guarding your heart,
There's a clarity to it.
guarding your style. Stars on your jacket, fishnet and heels. They could feel all the magic, but they won't let themselves see.
The transitions from section to section in this have been so subtle to the point that, I mean, they've been obvious enough that I notice when it happens, but they've been subtle enough that it doesn't feel like a jarring leap from moment to moment. Like, listen back to this here. Drums are kind of quiet down, and then all of a sudden, they raise like 2-3 dB. I love the textures. Like just in this section alone, there's like 5 different instruments that I can hear. I'll try to list them out. Got this bass in the middle, drums in the middle, piano on your right. I think it's acoustic or mandolin on the left. Or like a clean guitar tone. Yeah, and the acoustic strumming is like all around.
Hard-hearted woman,
And the devil has arrived.
hard-hearted woman, hard-hearted woman,
Hard-hearted woman?
hard-hearted woman, hard-hearted woman,
That's nice.
hard-hearted woman. You're just a hard-hearted woman. You're just a hard-hearted woman. You're just a hard-hearted woman. Oh, you're just a hard-hearted woman.
Interesting. Dude, I love the vibe of this song. We're going to talk about the meaning as best as I can, because I'm still piecing it together. Southern bro here has to sit down and get a drink. But you hear that bass throughout. Boom, 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 boom. Love is stronger than hate. Gotta hear these lyrics here again. Don't just take something, set it on fire. Let me look up the lyrics on the side.
Set it on fire.
Don't just take back the night, set it on fire. Okay. It's like find your inner resilience within yourself, within your community. Cool video. So now she's out of the dark. Yeah, there's a lot to that song that immediately kind of strikes me, and I really don't know if I'm going to be able to like capture all of the magic that I heard in that track with just my recounting here, but like right away, like even visually, there's this like extremely smoky vibe, and I feel like that smokiness somehow finds its way into the recording too. To the extent that you're almost like listening to a bit of fog and then like these brighter ornaments or like bassier ornaments populating that foggy space. And that doesn't mean it's not clear what I'm listening to. It just means like there is this kind of baked in smoky texture to it. And speaking of texture, there were so many instruments that found their way into this arrangement that I wasn't quite expecting in all the moments in which they appeared, but they all complemented Ora's singing voice really well, and that was probably the number one thing to focus on, A, melodically, and B, in terms of what's like directly in front of us as we're listening. Like I mentioned earlier, she has an extremely clear voice, so it just cuts right through that smoke in the mix. And that's why I kind of bring it up originally, because if it wasn't a smoky mix, there would be nothing necessarily to cut through. But to me, it worked remarkably well. And I was thinking of trying to understand the meaning of this song, because like I feel like the honey title sort of was not like a red herring, but the idea of the hard-hearted woman underneath it kind of, it shows you like there's two sides to every person. There's one where we kind of like doll it up for others and we put honey on everything and we make it all seem like it's kosher. And the other part of every person who, well, I'm actually colder on the inside because of all the times that I've been wronged and all of the ways in which I've like had to stand up for myself, and I no longer can pour that honey over. You'll have to let me know exactly what this means, because I found a lot of the lyricism to be a bit ambiguous contextually. I could probably come away with like 3 separate meanings on this track, which is a good thing. I don't think I can come away with just one right now, but that's kind of the main takeaway for me is some level of resilience. Let's check out the next song here. This one is Cowgirl. My God, it's like filmed like a horror movie. cool. I like the tempo in this. This is beautiful. I have chills. I love the melody in this song. Extremely melancholic.
There's blood in the corner of my heart. Stars are falling. All the dogs were howling. Streetlights were glowing. I went out onto the roof. I felt so dizzy. I saw the wasteland moving towards me. Somehow can't get
I love the vibe in this song. It is so sorrowful and simple melodically, but man, I love minor scale, so you're always going to hear me rave on and on about that. Why am I like reminded of the Norwegian singer Aurora? If you've ever listened to her, Aurora is this like almost like fairy in terms of her aesthetic, not only like visually and on stage, but vocally. And often her music will be this like extremely bright feel, if anything. And this is almost like the darker cousin to what I'm hearing, to what I'm familiar with Aurora's music. Because in Aura's singing here, wow, crazy, Aura. Okay, I didn't actually think about it like that. But with Aura's singing here, there's that brightness. Again, we have that clarity in her voice that is reminiscent of Aurora, but all of the surrounding instrumentation is serving a bit of a darker purpose. This is my favorite song so far.
moving towards me. Somehow can't get
I love the like retro style of filming. I have chills. I wish I could like give you my chills, but I have them right now. Chances are you have them too. I like that so much. Dude, I was trying like in my mind with the first song to like figure out what sort of, even though we're like in the indie world, what kind of genres are we like slantly related to or adjacent to. Somewhere in the first song and definitely in the second, actually maybe to the same amount, but you'll have to work with me on percentages. Both of those songs, Honey and Cowgirl, are like a bit country, but not a lot of country. It's a bit. It's like anywhere between like 5 and 15%. I wonder what specifically is giving me that feeling. Is it in the bass or guitar melody maybe? Not necessarily in the tempo. And I don't really hear an accent in Ora's singing that would lead me that way. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna detour. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to this artist Ray. It's Raye. Hearing Ora sing reminds me of Ray, and that's meant as a massive compliment because with first Aurora, I love Aurora and I love Ray. Man, this is such a sad song, and I love sad music, so this goes in my playlist for sure. What is this song about? My guess, with all the lyrics I could hear, because that was the one thing that I would say was a bit challenging for me, is to like pick up on all of the lyrics as I was listening, because a lot of the other surrounding instrumentation was pretty loud relative to the words. I could hear the pitch. Let me look it up. Why not? Give me a second here. Let's see if Google helps. Okay, Google AI overview. We'll see how accurate this is. Cowgirl by Ora Cogan is a haunting, a great adjective, atmospheric indie folk song from her 2024 album Formless that explores deep grief, solitude, and the absurdity of depression. Described by Cogan as a slow jam, it features a gothic country sound depicting a surreal, isolated mental landscape. Gothic country, is that what this genre is? Because I've listened to my fair share of like gothic metal and just maybe like gothic pop, if that's even a thing. But gothic country, this is my first time hearing that, and let me tell you, I like this niche for sure. All of those themes of grief, solitude, absurdity, of depression, those are very easily conveyed through the feeling. Yeah, Cowgirl is my favorite. Let's check out the last one here. This is Bury Me. So I'm going to start thinking now, gothic country. It's very ominous melodically. What scale is this? Are we Phrygian? Not harmonic minor unless we went to the lower scale degrees. Do do do. Do 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 do. This is the third and second scale degree. I don't know. My my hearing isn't the best, I guess. This reminds me of a typo negative song, a garbage song, and a Radiohead song. These videos are very artsy. Fun to watch. But I don't exactly know what's happening visually. That's like a creepy hand position. Next to the graffitied sad face. Did you see? Right there. Hold on, I don't know how much the details matter. Oops. There was the sad face, the 69. I know below her is the angel numbers 222. Then yin yang right there. The instrumentation is almost like more like rock in this. Very like industrial. Such an overwhelming set of sounds. Wow. I can safely say that I've never heard anything like this before. All of the references I was able to kind of bring up are based on like a few like relatable attributes, but yeah, it's not. It is not like anything I've heard before. And weirdly enough, this thought just popped into my mind. But I'm like, I felt like I was listening to the movie Midsummer, but if it were like translated into musical form. And maybe it's not Midsummer per se, more the vibe of like A24 Studios. If you guys are into horror movies at all, you may know what I'm talking about. But even across all three tracks, there is something like deeply ominous embedded into all three tracks, which I like, and I can't quite put my finger on it, which I also like. So it's like, to me, like it's almost a bit of a challenge to like take all of what I'm listening to in from a lyrical perspective, B from the texture perspective, and then C from like the confluence of all of the other elements in the arrangement coming together, because there are so many unique textures happening in each of the tracks. And I felt like the simplest one, and maybe the reason I liked it the most was because I could like wrap my brain around it melodically, was the second track with Cowgirl. But all three of these songs were extremely fun to listen to, because of this like super unique vibe. I think the hardest part about this listen for me, if I have to like say something, is the fact that like there are not lyrics on screen, because sometimes as you're hearing the pitch in the vocals, it gets either overtaken or muddled with the other cool things that are going on, especially in this last track here, Bury Me, where you have this like very, you could say like grungy, distorted like guitar sound taking over a lot of the mix. And just in terms of like levels, if they happen to be at the same place or just a little bit staggered from one another, it can be hard sometimes to pick out what's happening. But the thing is, that could also be like the intention of mixing it in that way is to create this like ominous feeling of you can hear the voice, but you can't really make out the voice. And depending on the meaning of all of these songs, that's almost like the point, is that you can kind of hear it, but it's not really tangible. Like, I was almost thinking about this song from like a metaphysical perspective for some reason. I was like, what? Imagine if you were like to communicate with the part of you that like learned how to astral project, for example. In the first part of that communication, it would be very fuzzy. You wouldn't be able to like very cleanly either A, do the transition, or B, have the communication between those two forms of yourself. But as you practiced and listened more and more, it would become more coherent. But I may just be like reaching for straws. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below. But this was a fun first listen. Like I said, I haven't heard anything like this, so I definitely would be down to hear more from Ora, or any other artists for that matter, who put my head in a tizzy in the way that this is done. But this is awesome. Thank you for the request today, Jeff. If you want to request a reaction yourself, you guys can always do so by hitting the first link in the description box below. But thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.